Welcome to Yellow Skunk Farms, everybody. Quick disclaimer. We are a 21 and up channel, so if you are not 21 years or older, please leave the channel now. We appreciate it. This is educational only and just a hobby, nothing for sale. And we're off. Check out our Monstera. Look at that thing. It's like a giant monster monstera. It just every day looks like it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. This is the newest leaf here, but I got news. Look at that. A new leaf is forming. How cool is that? Another one's going to be shooting off back here. So this was the one before that one down there. Now this is the newest one coming. So it's definitely growing like crazy. The roots do go down into the pond. You can see right there. The roots are going down and stretch all the way around the pond. So if you're not familiar with the setup, this is an indoor system specifically built by me to house our turtles and our goldfish. There's Pooter right there, our big goldfish. And Cooter and Scooter. There's Cooter. What's up, Coot? These are, he is a Peninsula Cooter slider. Oh, and there's Plinko, our algae eater. He's getting big. And up here's Scooter. Scooter is a river cooter slider. Both are farm raised, born in captivity. They were one was purchased and the other one was a gift. And Pooter over there we rescued Pooter from a bait and tackle shop. So we were in a bait and tackle shop just looking for some minnows to go in here, and there's one bullhead minnow. There's two bullhead minnows, three bullhead minnows. We bought those from the bait and tackle shop about a year ago. Actually, exactly a year ago. And Pooter was just in there with the bullhead minnows as a baby. He was only about this big, but he was bigger than all the rest. I was like, is that a goldfish? And he was like, no, that's just a big old bullhead. And I was like, nah, it looks like a goldfish. I was like, we're going to rescue him. I've had aquariums my whole life, so we're going to rescue him. And he's going to be going into this new pond we built. So he's been in for about a year now. You can see he's grown tremendously, but there's about 200 gallons of water in here, give or take, 20. There's one pump pumping up that water up there. You can see it coming out up there, and then that water is flowing down through the creek system, which the creek then comes back around the bed and then dumps back in to the system right here. So the creek, we don't have any filtration boxes. So the creek is our filtration box. So we're using the creek along with just a couple of these Chemi Pure bag. We have a Chemi Pure bag, which is just biochar and some clays and stuff, which the water filters through the bag. And then I have a little nitrate pad that goes in a freshwater aquarium here at the end here. Just the water runs over and catches some of the excess poo. We have shrimp, cherry shrimp, that take care of the creek for us. You can see the green algae, and the algae is food, and the algae is also the filter. So as the algae catches the poo and all the excess, we can just come in and pull some of this out. And then this is food for our biology. So we could just take this, and let's see, move the rock here, and you can see the isopods and worms breaking down all that sand and silt and clay. So we can just throw this right in the soil This is an old stump from the old cannabis. And you can see that we have gone into seed. We had a male here a couple days ago. We chopped the male out. Here's the old stump. And this is what we got going. We've got seed pods coming in all the bud. And this was on purpose. This is a seed run. We've dedicated this whole run to finding a male and letting it pollinate the whole room. And you can go back and look every day. We post a video on here every day, so you can go back. This is the first video you're seeing. You can just go back and watch us grow. This is the 4th run in the bed. Now the creek does water the soil pockets, so I have not watered the soil pockets in months, if not 3 or 4 months now. I even shut down we had a 25-gallon spray wand over there with a 25-gallon tank, and we were just doing a morning dew thinking that was, you know, doing good, and that was not doing good. That was creating too much moisture down here in the bed, and we were getting fungus gnats. We don't need to do anything here. I'm realized now that the sand and silt that's been, you see that? That's pure organic matter that is moist, really moist. And that sand, silt, clay, organic matter is coming on in. That's been worked by the worms, and it's underneath our mulch. So this comes right in. Here's our plant. This comes right in to the beds, and just underneath this mulch layer, that moisture is coming on in. You can see the life down there. This is living soil. This is what we want to see. We want to see diverse movement, and this is just what we can see. If we can see it, imagine what we can't see. So in a microscope, this is beautiful stuff. I'm telling you, it's alive and well. It's got diversity, which the plants can tap into and get all the nutrients they need. And the plants are smarter than we are, so they know they can pick and choose. So as long as I have the elements and the organic matter broken down by the biology in the soil, the plant can then absorb what they're crapping out and take what they want. So basically all I have to do is set the buffet down here, get the workers working, keep the buffet going with the biology, and the plants do their thing. We don't get any tip burn, we don't get, you know, leaf burn, like no burnt tips. This no burnt tips comes from a balanced soil, period. This soil is balanced over here. The plant is taking up exactly what it needs, when it needs it. Not too much, not too little, just right. So I like to think of it as a fuel gauge in a car. So everybody knows once you fill the car up, when you go driving, the initial fuel goes down quick, and then it'll start to level off, and then once it hits halfway, it just seems to drain. And it's the same kind of thing in the soil. Like once the whatever they're mining down there starts to get depleted, it needs to be replaced. So what these plants are uptaking into their leaves and into everything here, all the nutrient that's being flowed up into the veins from the soil into the plant, needs to be replaced. So all of this, except what we harvest, which is the flower, goes back in. And we can go back in, not all at once, but throughout the whole growth cycle. So throughout the growth, so you see I'm taking fingers, I'm taking hands, I'm thinning out, and I'm chopping up and I'm dropping. I've been doing that the whole time. Now if I were to do this all at once and not chop the pieces up, just lay these things down whole, I would build up a thick organic layer that would take forever to break down. Alright? So if by chewing your food up before you swallow, basically what I'm doing is chopping it up and dropping it in here, chewing it up so that the microbiology can then break it down. And the only thing that ends up left, you see the green, we've been chopping the green forever. That stuff just goes away so fast. All this is new, but it's the straw over here that doesn't break down. But this straw houses biology. It'll house biology. You know, it's hollow on the inside. If you put this under a microscope, you're going to see living things. So it's good. So life is good. This is what I'm trying to get across. A lot of people think that it's, detrimental to have all this stuff in here. And if you didn't know what you were doing, and if you didn't set the stage properly, and if you won't feed in the soil properly, you would have problems. No doubt about it. I've been there, done that. So the key to all of this, the key to keeping the bugs out, there's no fungus gnats. There's no, when I touch something, things don't fly off. I see a few moths every now and then that I take out by hand, but the moth is just part of nature. But the fungus gnat comes from the soil. All that stuff bad starts down here in the soil. So if we get the life, the biology, the life is biology, the microorganisms like the nematodes. The nematode, if you don't know, that's the next stage. That's like you got a worm that you can see, and then you have a worm that's microscopic. So it looks like a worm. There's many different types of nematodes. There's fungal, there's bacteria, there's root feeders, there's all kinds of different ones that they've identified. All of them are pretty good except for the root feeder, but the root feeder is there for a reason. It's usually there because you have bad soil, you have something not going good around your rhizosphere, which is your root zone. And you can see yesterday that we had to string up and tape up this little piece here because we pulled on it a little too hard and it broke. So I just put a piece of tape very loosely. You can see it's not, that was just there to keep, kind of like a band-aid, keep bacteria and fungal disease from getting in there. Because a wound, like a big wound, will attract, just like us. If we cut ourselves, we need to get some antibiotic. We need to get something on that wound to keep it from getting infected. Same principle here. If we break off a big leaf, if we break off a lot of big leaves, a lot of the pros will tell you to go ahead and spray something on, like a fish emulsion, or like a like some any type of biostimulant type thing to keep the good biology working against the bad that's around in this, that could be floating around in the air or whatever and contaminate. But I haven't seen any of that. I've been plucking. I've noticed, like the first couple of runs, I would notice that these leaves, like any leaf that would touch any part of anything else, that leaf would get eaten. And now I'm seeing over here, like on the grass, look at all the leaves touching, but none of them are getting eaten. It's like the plant has got a force field around it now, that whatever that biology was that was on this was strong enough for it not to eat and consume, but when it touched the cannabis was so weak and didn't have a buildup of sugars yet in its leaf to protect it, it was getting consumed by the biology on the dog fennel. But now that the soil has gotten so good, the plant is so healthy that it can touch any of this and not be consumed by whatever the biology on this. So it's actually gotten immune to whatever it is. And this down here, it's gotten better. I mean, I don't see any more disease on it. It's like everything in the soil is starting to balance itself out and come into harmony. And then when everything comes into harmony in the soil, everything up here becomes just better. Like everything just comes in harmony, basically. It becomes resistant to that pest. Pest doesn't like that sugar that's trapped in that leaf. So it goes to something down here. So once we pluck it off, it loses its force field and becomes vulnerable to that pest or whatever it is it's consuming. I don't think anything's a pest. I think everything here is for a reason. There are no such thing as pests. A pest is a mechanic. He's there to consume the decay or the death that you have created. That's pretty much what it is. If you set this upright, the pest goes to its secondary job, or its first job is to eat the decaying matter, the dead. It's getting rid of the dead, like buzzards getting rid of the dead deer on the road. You know, if we didn't come along and pick it up, that dead deer is food for the buzzard. So I need to feed the critters in the soil all the way down to the microbiology, the micro level. When we do that, we can feed the biology by like the FAA, like the fish amino acid, which we can have a dead fish. Just take the dead fish, put it in a bucket, cover it and coat it in sugar, like a brown organic sugar, and wait about 6-7 months. That sugar will break down that fish into liquid. That is FAA. That's all it is. And all that is microbe food. It's like cocaine for the microbes. You put it in there and it's like, whee! It's like running lines for everybody. And everybody's going to take off and do their job super fast, but they will run out. It burns off and then they're back to normal. I don't have to do that anymore because something like that is just to get the thing started. We want to get the party started, and if we've set the stage right, the party can go on forever. And that's the whole point here. Like if we set the stage right, the party will go on forever as long as we keep feeding. And all we need to do now that we've jump-started the party is keep plants, living plants, in the soil, because it's the plant that is providing the sugar now. We don't need to jump-start the party anymore. The plants are doing that for us. So the plant is taking that sunlight, turning it into sugar, simple sugars, pushing those sugars down into the rhizosphere, out into the soil pocket around the area here, and that's what's feeding the microbiology. Then the biology mines the sand, the silt, the clay, the organic matter, and then releases it back to the plant. So it's a give and take system. Plant's taking sunlight, turning it into energy, turning it into sugars, boom, 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 that turns it back into energy, and back and forth, back and forth. That's why there are veins inside these leaves here. Inside those leaves, if you were to look in there, there are things flowing, just like if you were looking at your veins and your arteries. There's one pushing and pulling. Well, in these veins, things are being pushed and pulled all the time, up and down, constantly flowing. When it's not flowing properly, when you have a clog in your artery or vein, bad things happen. We start to see red streaking in some leaves and in some stems. You'll see red streaking in a lot of different things. This is a problem. Sometimes it's genetics. The leaves, like I'll show you. This is a red leaf stem. You see how red it is? But it's red all the way around, except for just on the underside there a little bit. That's sunlight, that's that light hitting on top here, but over here on the stem itself, you won't see any red streaking. That's because everything's flowing properly into these leaves, into the bud structure. If it wasn't, we'd have red streaking all through here. You can see it start right here at the leaf. And it comes, it's still flowing. Once it gets up into here, so as this grows, it's probably the genetic. It's just how it is. This one over here didn't do that. This one over here stayed green. For the most part, stayed green. Everything stayed green. Just like you can see it over here too. So this one, Jolly Pond, you can see it kind of. But then this one over here doesn't have any. All green. And the same soil pocket, same side by side, boom, boom. But from what I'm seeing, it doesn't matter. Like the soil there, you're talking about a pinch of soil. Tiny little pinch has more biology in it than, or more bacteria and life in it than all humans on the planet. This is a known fact that if the soil is right and alive and living, truly living with the microbiology that it needs, not just worms, but with the worm comes the worm casting, in which the life really is inside that worm casting. So that casting of that worm is full of all kinds of stuff. Who knows what? Depends on what the worm is eating. So what I'm feeding the worm is the sand and the silt and the clay that is being filtered through, basically inside this creek here, which has the life, the shrimp, the fish, kind of like aquaponics. So all that nutrient that's built up in that sand and silt, it's coming up out of the creek into the soil. You see what the worms do to it. They turn it into soil and worm castings. This is where the life is, right here. In those roots. There's a slug right there. We don't care about that. There's plenty of those in here. But this is where the life is. This right here. And it stays moist. Look at, I can feel I'm breaking roots right now by doing this. So I am disturbing the shit. There's the rock. There's the wall. Look how much it's built up. And this is what we're doing. We're building soil. We're turning sand, silt, clay, organic matter into nutrient-dense soil that this grass, there's a rhizosphere right there. Under a microscope, that is teeming with life. You'll be able to see nutrients like flowing up and down through that roots, that rhizosphere there. So the rhizosphere is this root area here. And in the soil, that's where all those fine hairs, they're hard to see, but that's where all those fine hairs are reaching out and allowing the microbiology to attach itself, like the bacteria and the fungi and all this stuff. All of it's working and has a job to do down there. Can't explain it all, it's extremely complicated. You'd have to go to the science laboratory to figure all that out. I'm not a scientist, I'm an observer. I'm just observing what I see and then trying to make sense, then going to the science department and asking the people who have been studying this forever what I'm seeing. Like, what am I seeing here? And if they don't know, then we got something to work on then, right? But I've turned sand and silt and clay, literally, the stuff that's in the creek and in the bottom of the pond, brought that up onto the shoreline, into the soil bed, and that sand has been turned into soil in under a year. Like nutrient dense, biologically rich soil in under a year. So that's saying something there. I think that has implications beyond just here in this bed here. I mean, if we can turn sand, imagine turning sand into nutrient-dense soil in under a year. That has implications. Now we have to add that silt and that clay and that organic matter, but once we do that, all you'd have to do is build a pond outdoors, run the creek through wherever your soil bed is, no filtration, allow nature to balance everything out for you, and if you do it right, it'll balance super fast. I'm realizing that this happens so fast. I thought this would take years, like 3 years. I thought I would be explaining like disease and funk and like why I have pests and why this and why that. I thought I'd be doing all that, but I haven't. It's crazy how fast everything just came together naturally, and everything works together. It just wants to work together. It wants to live, which is crazy. It wants to do good, but sometimes the bad comes in and takes over, and we need to find the good and just overpower the bad with the good, and then allow the balance to reshape. So we need good and bad, yin and yang. You can't just get rid of all the bad, because then all you have is good. And if all you have is good, eventually some of that good goes bad. And then the process starts all over again, where it gets out of balance. You need to get both. So when they start working together in harmony is when we start seeing good things happen. We start to see great growth, no disease, no pests, no flies, no fungus gnats, none of that shit. It's crazy how it works. No pesticide. I haven't sprayed Lost Coast Plant Therapy in months. I haven't sprayed anything in months. It's crazy. I thought, those. It's just how fast everything happened. It's mind blowing. Now you can see. Look at this leaf down here. Look at that leaf touching, the last run. If that leaf was up in that grass, where that leaf was touching that grass, the leaf would be eaten. It would be devoured. Now, all up in it. Not harming it at all. Because that plant is more, it's not that the biology isn't on that grass. That grass is healthy as shit. It's just, the plant is more resilient now. It's got more sugar in it now. And whatever's on the grass that's not eating the grass that's healthy, now the plant's healthy enough where it's not eating that as well. So it's going to go elsewhere for food. It's probably going to go down to where the old grass is. You know what I mean? Like eat the decay like it's supposed to. Because sometimes if you don't have the proper biology, the decaying leaves won't break down into soil, because there's nothing there to eat it and break it down. Like the isopods and the shredders. You don't have very good shredders, like the earwigs that have the pinchers on the ass and everything that we can see, tearing all this big organic matter up, that way that it can go on to the next stage of the poop loop. So it's pretty cool how it works. And like I said, I am no scientist. I'm just an observer. I did this to observe over time and just relay what I'm seeing and put it on camera so everybody else can see it. I hadn't seen anything done like this before, so here we go. It was not easy to build. You can go back on my YouTube and see how I built it. I put it all on updates. So you see that we're on day 700 and some. You have to go back to day 50, 55 when we first laid the wood, and you can see an update of me shoveling pea gravel in the bottom, then laying sand, silt, and clay down, and then just starting the pond process. And use updates, not every day, but like once a week I was throwing an update on there, and you can see how we built it how it came together. If you're interested in doing that, you can go on our website. It's a whole lot easier, I think. Well, I don't know if it's on our website. I'm sorry. No, it'd be on our Instagram. It'd be on our Instagram. Wouldn't be on our website yet. I haven't put it together yet. And eventually one day I'll put everything together. But I didn't want to put this one, everything together, because this is the prototype. And the prototype is just for observation and learning. Didn't really want to teach somebody how to do something if it didn't work out. You know what I mean? Like if we started seeing bad things and we were doing things wrong, then obviously we would have to change up. Might have to tear the whole damn thing down. But thankfully we haven't had to do that, and everything came into balance. And now what we're thinking is going in and creating a whole new channel. And going to start, I'm thinking, I've come up with a plan in my head to build a whole nother pond area dedicated to herbs and vegetables, and see excuse me, and see if I can create a whole nother side here along with the canvas. So I want to see if I can grow this with vegetables, certain herbs and vegetables, like in the time frame. Like can instead of running 18 hours a light, can I run 16 hours? I already know I can do 16 for this, and I know most crops don't need 16 hours. You're normally getting like 12, 13 hours of light. So I don't know how they would react to like getting a whole lot. But anyway, I'm thinking we're going to find out, because I think I've got a good design in my head where it would look good. We would have to remove all of this. All of this would come out. All this junk would come out of here. We would remove the shelf. All that would be removed, so all this would be open, and then we would just lay out. So I'm thinking, if you want to follow my finger here, what I'm going to think, we still have to be able to get into here. So I'm thinking like maybe a figure 8 type thing, so where we start a box right here, and we start the box and we come down here, turn here, come around through here, turn up through here, come back around, and then end up there. Pond would go down here. We can walk around through here. We'd be able to walk up all the way up into here, and then bend it right into here where we could lean over into here. We would be able to get to everything. The pond would go here. We would funnel the water on up the mountain to the top there and run it down the creek system that would run down through here back into the pond. Maybe a little whoop, 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 back into the pond. This would be on a smaller scale than this. So this is 12 by 9. This over here would be something like maybe 10 by 6 or 10 by 7, something like that. But the first thing we'd have to do is build the box, the sand box, basically, in the design that we want. Set the box down, put the liner in it, and then the rock formation starts inside the liner, just like we did over here. The rock goes all the way down to the bottom and then comes up and then kind of out and over. So that's what we would do here, and then build it on up, build the pond, go from there. This side would basically be a separate channel than Yellow Skunk Farms. I'm thinking Yellow Skunk Gardens, something like Yellow Skunk Pond Garden, something like that. But that would be dedicated, something that YouTube would let us monetize and actually put our videos out to where people could see what we've actually done, because this is heavily restricted on YouTube. I get very little traffic because they don't like our medicine. So we're going to dedicate a whole section to where we can just set up cameras from right on this side and film food growing, and have not turtles over here. Turtles are over here, but I'm doing nothing but fish, shrimp, clams, freshwater stuff. No turtle though. Turtles we have enough of over here. It'll just be completely fish, more of an aquaponics system. This way we won't have to worry about salmonella and all that other stuff. I'm not worried about salmonella in this because I use labs, but also I'm not eating the bud. And the salmonella, even if it did even get close to the biology, and it's not even possible, I don't think. But we haven't had any issues. This is, like I said, the 4th run, so. But I think that's a plan anyway. I've been thinking about it quite a bit, and I think we could go ahead and do it. We could do it, I think, by the end of this year. We could get it done. If I get on it. I don't do things very fast, that's the thing. I like to take my time. All this is kind of new, so if we rush, we screw up, and screwing up on something like this with concrete and rock is not fun. It's not fun at all. A lot of work. A lot of work. Big risk I took building this and putting it on camera. I had no idea. It was either a sink or swim type moment, but it was kind of like I got nothing to lose anyway. You know what I mean? Just remove this one because it didn't need to be there. Man, that thing smells good. It's like a funky cotton candy almost. See, this is what I'm doing. I'm just chopping it up. I'm chewing my food before I swallow it. And I just swallowed it into my gut system, which is my soil system. So this is my guts. These are my. Imagine that root system is the plant. This is just half of what we see. Everything, the other half is down there. The guts of the system is down there. Take care of the gut takes care of everything else. Gut and mind are connected. You are what you eat, right? Alright, I appreciate everybody hanging out. We've got a full schedule this week. We got Let's Be Buds 2 tonight, movie night. Then we're on with To Be Blunt Live on Thursday. Then we got Aussie Growers on Friday. Then we got Organically Blunt on Saturday. So we're making the rounds this week. So check us out, look us up, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.